Welcome to the Big Success Show. Today, 5 ways to squirrel away money. Brought to you by financialfreedomtool.com. Plenty of money for life.
Big Success with the Professor and Mary-Lynn.
Just as squirrels hoard away nuts for winter, we can squirrel away money to get through an economic winter.
We share 5 ways to weather a downturn on our show today.
Hi, my name's George Kruger, a.k.a. The Professor.
And I'm Mary-Lynn, and this show today was inspired by the many busy squirrels in our neighborhood.
We definitely have an abundance of squirrels. My goodness gracious.
As we have turned the corner to fall, the squirrels are conducting their annual march to winter. And what's kind of fun today is that we are going to tell you a story on the Big Success Show.
Yeah, a story about a young woman, a smart young woman, who met up with a wise old squirrel.
It was a lovely summer day. The sun was shining bright. I basked in its warmth. There wasn't a cloud in the glorious blue sky. It was beauty all around me. The trees, the shrubs, the flowers. I could have painted a picture if only I could paint. I caught a glimpse of movement out of the corner of my eye. It was a squirrel bearing a nut. Ah, an unpleasant reminder that winter will soon be here, I said to myself. Then something odd happened. The squirrel asked,
"Are you storing up nuts for winter?"
I was startled because squirrels can't talk, so I paused for a minute.
I asked you if you are storing up nuts for winter.
I looked right at the squirrel. He was looking right at me, appearing eager for my response. And then I did it. I started slowly, but I replied to the squirrel. I don't have to. I can just go to the store.
But I'm not talking about the kind of nuts I store up. I'm talking about your winter hoard.
What do you mean, my winter hoard?
Well, we squirrels know that in the summer months, there's plenty of food available. But come winter, there won't be any. That's why we bury nuts in the summer. If we don't do that, we won't have any food to eat over the winter. We'll go hungry.
I know that, but I still don't understand what you mean.
Well, let me finish. Humans also face winter. There are times when things are good. Think of those as your summer. But there are also times, for one reason or another, when things aren't so good. You have winter too.
Oh, okay. Now I see where you're going.
Yeah, when things are good, you have to store up your own hoard, your cash hoard, for the bad times.
Because if I don't do that, I won't have any food to eat.
Now you get it.
And that was the only time I ever talked to the squirrel. However, I always remembered our conversation. From that day on, I always squirreled away a hoard when times were good. And I never went hungry thanks to that squirrel.
Boy, Mary-Lynn, that is one smart squirrel. You know, I like to think of it like a professorial squirrel.
Yeah, definitely. He had that sound, didn't he?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, now we want to put that squirrel's advice to good use. We're going to talk about 5 ways to squirrel away money for economic winter. That's coming up right after this word from our sponsor, financialfreedomtool.com. Plenty of money for life.
How do your personal finances stack up to your neighbors? The new Financial Freedom Tool shows you how your income and expenses compare to other people like you, so that you quickly see how to save more money. Learn more at financialfreedomtool.com.
We just shared a story about a wise squirrel who told us why humans need to be more like squirrels when it comes to preparing for a downturn, recession, tough times, whatever you want to call it.
Economic winter.
Right. So now what we're going to do is look at 5 ways to squirrel away money to weather a downturn. And number 1 is to live as if the recession already started.
This is a really critical mindset shift. You know, when times are good, as the squirrel taught us, stash away cash for times when things aren't so good. In other words, build your capital reserves so that you can weather unexpected events that are probably more likely to happen during an economic winter, during a recession.
You know, George, it's so fun to always kind of have your mind in like emergency mode.
Sure, you're right. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't. The point is, by actually preparing, you give yourself peace of mind because you know you can weather these uncommon events. And so we like to think of our household like it's a small business. We find that analogy useful. That means you're the entrepreneur in charge, and entrepreneurs are excellent risk managers. So in this case, that means not thinking about one unexpected event. What happens if you have two at the same time or two close together? For example, maybe you get laid off and then have a major home repair.
Mm-hmm. Or one of your kids breaks their glasses.
Exactly.
And the car breaks down.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be prepared for those kinds of situations. And looking at the risks that you could possibly face in certain circumstances is going to help you prepare better for the future.
We have a tool which helps you stress test your finances for situations just like these. Check out our Financial Freedom Tool at financialfreedomtool.com. So now the second way to squirrel away money for a downturn is to stockpile raises.
Yeah, and what you're going to see here is, of the 5, one of them is about kind of stretching our resources further. The other 4 are really about how do we make more resources and what do we do with them. So as you said, Mary-Lynn, one thing you can do is stockpile resources so you can work to increase your income when times are good. The best time to get a raise is when your employer's profits are rising, right? I mean, when the organization we work for is doing better, doing good, it's a good time to ask for a raise. But there are 3 ways you can go with a raise once you get one. At one extreme, you can spend it.
Right.
I mean, just spend it all, right? And more is what we often see. A lot of people do this with a raise. The next thing you know, the money's tighter than it was before. You want to avoid that.
We've done a show about that. You can find a link in our show notes about how to make sure that isn't you.
So at the other extreme, you can save it all. This is the fastest way to shore up your finances in preparation for an economic winter, for a recession. Now, of course, you can also do something in between.
So we've got 3 options here. How should you decide which one?
Well, here's the thing. Look to the stress test we talked about in the previous point, or just look over your finances.
The Freedom Tool.
Yes. Look over your finances and just look at what could happen in the case of a financial shock. If your finances can handle that shock, then you can save less from your raise. If it's kind of sketchy, you're going to feel a whole lot better saving more until you get to the point where your finances can take a significant hit.
All right, number 3, bank your windfalls. This is kind of like the same thing. So, like, if you get the raise, which is a little windfall.
Yes.
Let's say you win the lottery, you bank it all. That's a big windfall.
Well, yes. Well, and you can think of this as found money. It could be a tax refund, an inheritance, or bonus, right? It could be others too. But the whole point is stash it all away. You've been doing fine without it. Just put it away for economic winter. A windfall is the fastest way to change your short-term financial trajectory. However, what do most people do with it?
Blow it.
They blow it all. And so be different. Put it away to buck up your finances.
The 4th way to squirrel away money for downturn is to moonlight.
Yeah, get a part-time job. Now, you don't have to do this forever. Just do it long enough to build up a cash stash that'll help you survive in tough times. Think seasonally. Like, for example, we're coming into the time of year. We literally are doing this show at the onslaught of, we've just come into fall and we're now looking towards winter. But, during this season, there's a whole lot of opportunities as retailers prepare for the holidays, right? Mm-hmm. So you can make money and perhaps get a discount on purchases, which may help you stick to your holiday budget. You're going to work hard for this money, so make sure it works hard for you as well. The more you save from these paychecks, the sooner your finances will be in tip-top shape.
And our 5th and final way to squirrel away money for a downturn, start a side hustle.
Yeah, so whereas with number 4, you're kind of moonlighting, you're just getting a part-time job. Here, it's freelance, it's a gig, it's, your own side hustle. What expertise do you have? What skills do you possess? Who would pay you for these things? But here's the way to approach this. Be opportunistic. Get started. It doesn't have to be your passion. You just need a low-cost way to get into a business. Then you'll gain resources, and then you can keep growing. It leads to big success.
We've got a cheat sheet that has 5 ways to make more money. Our goal is to help you get started making more money as fast as possible. In this 1-page cheat sheet, we share the only 5 ways to make more money. Get your Moneymakers cheat sheet now. You can find the link to it in your show notes.
And we thank you so much for listening today.
Oh, hey, look, even the squirrel is thankful that you listen. Until next time,
here's to your big success.
Find big success at biggsuccess.com.